You have over 200,000 employees, so how can you possibly relate to them? Do you do it through emails, or how do you keep your employees informed about everything? You have so many employees.
So we do videos, we do emails, we do town halls and forums every quarter. Every time I travel, we meet with employees and I do town halls in that town or country that I go to. Occasionally I'll write very personal letters to the employee base as a whole. For example, when my kids were going to college, I wrote a personal letter to everybody saying I'm going through tremendous separation angst. Or if I felt our employees were not calling their parents often enough, I'd write a letter about why it's important they call their parents. So whatever is on my mind on a personal basis, I want them to know me as a person rather than just an executive. So I'm very accessible to them, and I talk to everybody from the front line to my senior executives.
A number of years ago, you spoke at the Economic Club of Washington, and you made a speech that I thought really captured a lot of people's attention. And one of the things you said was that you write letters to your senior officers' mothers to kind of give them a report card on how their children are doing. Do you still do that, and what was the theory behind that?
So I have to take you back a few years. When I first became CEO, I went back to India to visit my mother, who was in India at that time. My father had passed away and my mother was there, and I stayed at a hotel because the home was a little bit more rugged and I wanted the comforts. So she told me I had to dress up and show up at home at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I wondered why. But when mom gives you instructions, you just follow it. When I got home and I sat in the living room, stream of visitors and random people started to show up. They'd say hello to me and then go to my mom and say, "You did such a good job with your daughter. Compliments to you, she's CEO," but not a word to me. And when I watched this interplay going on, I realized that I was a product of my upbringing. And my parents, if my father had been around too, they should get the credit because it's what they did for me and to me that allowed me to be who I was that day. And it occurred to me that I had never thanked the parents of my executives for the gift of their child to PepsiCo. So I came back and I started to write to my direct reports and other senior executives, narrating the story, my cultural background, what happened when I went to India. And then I wrote a personal paragraph on what their child was doing at PepsiCo and said, "Hey, thank you for the gift of your child to our company." And it opened a floodgate of emotions. Parents just started to communicate directly with me, and it's been an amazing experience because I now write to about 400 executives.
So you write a letter to their parents. What do the executives say? They say, "Don't do that," or they say, "I'm glad you told my mother how well I'm doing," or my father?
So our executives actually get very emotional about it because their parents have never received such a letter, and their parents are now getting a letter, which is always a positive report card, right? I'm not going to write anything else. So their parents are so delighted about receiving this letter. They tell their neighbors and their uncles and their aunts. And then the executive says, "My God, this is the best thing that happened to my parents and the best thing that happened to me." So the executive feels proud.
So have you ever written letters to the interviewers you've ever had, their mothers?
No,
You haven't done that yet.
not yet.
Not yet, okay.